What's up, guys? In this video we're going to be talking about shutter speed and Magic Lantern. This is one of the biggest reasons why I love Magic Lantern, and I got a question from Johnny Valentine Parker about shutter speeds and switching from 24 frames per second to 30 frames per second and NSTC and PAL. But I think what happened is he saw one of my videos where I was in 30 frames per second, and then my shutter speed was 1/60, which is a 180 degree shutter angle. Being able to achieve a 180 degree shutter angle is incredibly useful to make your footage look good. And that's what I want to talk about in this video, is when you're filming in 30 frames per second, how to fine tune your shutter down to 1/60th of a second, because with the regular Canon settings, it'll only do 1/64. Okay, so the camera that Johnny was asking about was the T5i. Now this is going to be pretty much the same in all of the Magic Lantern builds, or at least the ones that I have messed with. So when I'm set to 24 frames per second, it'll go to 1/50th. Now how do I get 1/48, which is 180 degree shutter angle? You're going to go into your Magic Lantern, go to image fine tuning, and then you're going to go to shutter fine tuning right there. And you'll see as I move this on the very bottom here, this is giving me my actual shutter speed. It's kind of hard to see probably, but right now we're at 1/50th and I'm actually raising my shutter speed. So if I go the other way, this is now 1/48.023. And all that's doing is compensating for the shutter speed, which is an awesome feature. And then, not to lose that, once you've got your 180 degree shutter angle, go to movie tweaks, then go down to shutter lock. And then even while I'm shooting, it's not going to allow me to change my shutter speed, which is incredibly useful. I accidentally hit that all the time. So what if we're setting this up for 30 frames per second? We'll turn these back off. So if we're in 30 frames per second, it'll only give me 1/64th, which is not 180 degrees. So if you want to get the 180 degree shutter angle, which is double the frame rate, go to image fine tuning, and then we're going to go to went the wrong way again. So right there, plus 1.05, that's giving me a shutter speed of 1/60.006. That is extremely close to perfect. Then I'm just going to go back out, put my shutter lock on, and now even on the display it says 1/60. I've got a perfect 180 degree shutter angle. So I hope this helped. That is an incredibly useful tool with Magic Lantern for the old Canons. That's going to allow you to get some really clean looking footage, especially handheld if you're using a lens with the built-in stabilization like the kit lens or the 10-18. There's different reasons to use different shutter angles, but that 180 degree shutter angle is good for 99% of scenarios. Sometimes when I'm doing talking head, I like to go a little bit higher with my shutter speed, and that's just to get a little bit sharper of an image. I think it looks a little bit different, especially watching on a phone. But most of the time I don't do that on this channel. I just do that on my other channel where I'm doing a little bit more fast paced of a video. Another thing getting that exact shutter angle is going to allow you to do is if you're building on a 24 frames per second timeline, you do have 30 frames per second. So you could shoot your B-roll in 30 frames per second and then slow it down to 0.8. I think that's the right number, and put your 30 frames per second slow down by 0.8 on a 24 frames per second timeline and really get some good looking footage. You have a little bit of slow motion that you can play with right there. And I think 30 frames per second on a 24 frames per second timeline is a really good way to give your footage a really nice look while not being belligerently slow motion. That's going to be it for me in this video. I hope this helped Let me know if you have any more questions about shutter speed, shutter angle with Magic Lantern. I'll see you guys later.